Hi guys, and welcome back to the Early Bird Photo News, jam-packed with interesting and some unfortunate news like my broken tripod head, but more on that later. I know I said last week I would take it easy, and I'm still trying to take it easy, but after making my first video since my 4-month-long break, I just don't want to stop anymore. I just love making videos and sharing them with all of you and connecting with all of you guys again. While I was setting up just then, there was actually a few yellowtail black cockatoos coming to that water bowl right behind me, and also for the first time since October, I grabbed my camera R5 with 100 to 500 and took some shots and some videos. I'll probably grab my big 600mm lens to take some headshots tomorrow because the background isn't the greatest, but it's just awesome to be able to take some photos again. And it's pretty cool that if I can't go into the field, those awesome cockatoos come right to the bowl behind me. At the moment, we're looking to buy a house up here in Queensland, and until we find one, we're mainly staying in Airbnbs. And I'm using my MacBook Pro for editing of photos and videos. And for a long time, I've really struggled to find a good program on the MacBook to look through all my RAW files fast and efficiently and at 100%. For Windows, I have Fast on Image Viewer, and for Mac, I just couldn't really find a good solution. The only program that seemed alright was Photo Mechanic. The last few days, every night, I had the chance to finally start looking through some images that I had taken in October when my bird photography co-host Glenn Bartley came up to Queensland to visit me. And while I was sick, unfortunately, we still managed to get out into the field and take some awesome images and some great videos. And overall, I managed to take over 14,000 images that I hadn't looked through. And so I started to look through these images and using Photo Mechanic extensively. And I must say, I'm very impressed with the program. I can easily scroll through the images. They load very fast. I can look at them at 100%, scroll through them at 100% as well to quickly decide which ones are the sharpest or critically sharp, and I can easily tag and delete the images. So overall, I'm very happy with Photo Mechanic, and I will definitely be using it going forward because it's the best program I could find on the Mac that's similar to Fast on Image Viewer. And once you've gone through all your RAW files and selected the best ones, it's important to learn how to edit them to perfection. And this is where I would love to help you with my ProSets and my masterclass. With my ProSets, I enable you with just one click to transform your RAW files from a RAW to a great starting point for the editing process. And in my masterclass, I teach you step by step everything you need to know in Photoshop to make your images look absolutely amazing. So if that's of interest to you, make sure to check these out down there in the description. When I pulled out my tripod and Wimberley head from the car the other day, I noticed that the Wimberley head had actually broken and fallen apart. The screw's loose at the top, I can't really tighten anymore, the knob has come off, and overall it just seems a little bit worn out and has seen a lot of use and abuse over the last 10 or 15 years that I had the hat. So it lasted me a very long time, but I think it's time for something new now. I could probably repair the head, but I think after such a long time of usage, it's best to get something new that's a little bit tighter and maybe a little bit better looking. In saying that, I do love the Wimberley head. It has served me very well. You can have all the nice flash bracket attached to it, for instance. So it's been a fantastic tripod head for me. And so the logical choice would probably be to get a new Wimberley head. But at the same time, I find that a little bit boring. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are the tripod heads that you are using for your bigger lenses? Are there some that you recommend to me? I've been looking at a few ones when I looked around for something more fancy like a Pro Media Gear Katana Junior, or even something crazy like a Fatlex Shooter Pro head. So there's a few interesting options out there, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What tripod head do you think I should be getting? Is there one that stands out to you? I keep doing some more research, and in one of the next episodes I will show you what I've actually bought. Let's talk a bit about Vero. Is it dead? Has it died again? In the last episode of the Bird Photography Show, Glenn and I talked about social media and didn't really talk about Vero, so let's change that today. I joined Vero many years ago when it first started and was the big hype, but then it also died relatively quickly again and no one posted there anymore. So when it was the hype of the town again a few months ago, I decided to rejoin. I posted there for a while, but personally I must say I'm just not vibing with it. What I miss the most is the ability to find new people and to connect with new people. While there's a lot of things wrong on Instagram, one thing that I really like is that you can just go to the Explore page, for instance, or you have suggested posts in your newsfeed that show you awesome new photographers every day that I would not find on my own. So I really cherish that because it allows me to find new photos, new photographers on a regular basis, and that just enhances my enjoyment on the platform. And this is something that I really find is missing from Vero. It's better for posting the images. It's probably nicer to connect with people there, but not really being able to find new people and easily connect with people is what has really put me off and kind of stopped me from posting there again. So I want to ask you guys, is Vero dead? Am I missing out? Should I jump back on? Let me know in the comments. Recently, there's also been new firmware 1.7 for the Canon R5 and the R6. I've personally only installed it recently and have not had the chance to take many photos, but so far it seems to be working well. What are your experiences with it? Have you installed it? Is it working well? Let me know in the comments, and you might want to check it out because generally speaking, firmware updates are pretty good and add some new features and bug fixes to the cameras. There was also firmware update for the R3 a little while ago. I don't even think I've installed it yet, but I'll definitely going to do that tonight. So let's talk photo news and start with Nikon. It's going to be quick because there's not really much to report. There hasn't been many news when it comes to Nikon, and we're all basically just waiting for cheaper and lighter camera that incorporates some of that Z9 technology, like a Z8 or Z6 II, Z7 II. It doesn't even really matter. What's really missing at the moment from Nikon is cheaper alternatives to Z9 that are also lighter and easier to carry. Nikon has amazing lenses, but only really one pro camera that takes advantage of it. So hopefully this year, very soon, Nikon will bring out some new cameras with that great new technology. When it comes to Sony, there's actually a very interesting lens launching this week, a Sigma 60 to 600mm lens that comes in at around $2,200, 2.5 kilos or 5.5 pounds. So while a lens with such a long zoom range, generally speaking, doesn't have the best image quality, it definitely makes up for that in flexibility. So is that a lens that a lot of you guys are excited about? I know it seems like a pretty interesting alternative, especially if you're, for instance, traveling and don't want to take too many lenses. It gives you the ability to shoot fairly wide and have the 600mm on the long end. So let me know your thoughts about that lens. In the Canon universe, we had some interesting developments too. Apparently, we're going to be seeing an R8 very soon. Now, don't ask me why we need another lower end body when we already have the old R6, R7, R10, R, and RP, but Canon must think they might want to have one body for each number from 1 to 10. That's the only explanation I have at the moment. And that camera apparently will have the same sensor as the R10 as well, same 24 megapixel APS-C sensor. So unless this camera is aimed at vlogging, for instance, with some completely different features, I'm not really sure where it fits into the lineup or why we need it. So I guess for now we just have to wait and see what Canon has thought up with that camera and whether it will be interesting or not so much. What definitely excited me on the other hand was the news that Canon patented 3 new amazing looking zoom lenses with a built-in 1.4 extender, a f5.6 300 to 700mm lens with built-in 1.4 extender, a 200 to 500mm f4 lens with built-in 1.4 extender, and a 200 to 400mm f4 with a built-in 1.4 extender. So all of these 3 zoom lenses actually sound pretty amazing. And I think while sports shooters would love to have that 200 to 400 again with the 1.4 extender that was also very popular in the EF lineup, personally, I would prefer to see the 200 to 500 f4 with a built-in 1.4 extender. I think that would be a fantastic lens for wildlife and also for wildlife filming. Another super interesting lens that I'm not quite sure we're actually going to see is the 5.6 300 to 700mm lens with a built-in 1.4 extender as well. That means we could potentially get to 980mm on a zoom lens, and I think that sounds just absolutely fantastic. And while the price points of these lenses sound pretty crazy, I think I would have a hard time not to buy one of them. What about you guys? Would you be tempted by like a 200 to 500 f4? I think we're not going to see all 3 of them. I think we're only going to see one of those 3 lenses. And the most likely one to me seems to be the 200 to 500 f4 with the 1.4 extender. As you can see, guys, it's getting pretty dark out here now. It's definitely time to wrap up this week's Early Bird Photo News. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up for the video. Let me know all your thoughts down there in the comments, and subscribe to the channel down there as well. And I will see you in the next video very soon. Bye.